All right, this is serious, church. I'm talking to the Pillsbury Doughboy, Tarzan, and their staff. I need to share something. You need to know this. The day that I dropped the video where I identified as Melchizedek, like I know I'm supposed to, he led me into this. Doing what I know now is what I'm supposed to do. I went down, I dropped it, and there had been several views. And I was checking this out, and it's like, oh boy, this one's going. And so I know people are watching it. And I happened to have that night off. And Jake from State Farm works for my buddy WJ. And I call him Jake from State Farm. He plays the same game that I do. It's called Ebony, The King's Return. And anyways, he plays the same game I do. So I'm going to go down and we're going to converse. We're going to be talking about our game. Plus, I'm going to ask him if he saw the latest video that I dropped. So I get down there, and I walk up to Jake from State Farm. He's the guy that gives me some corn that WJ's been picking out of my crap for years. Well, anyways, I'm talking to Jake, and he says, hey, who is this Jeffrey Marsh you're talking about? I said, oh, Google it. I've never Googled Jeffrey Marsh. I got my information from Nick, the free it ass, and other people like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and whoever else picks up little pieces of these guys. So I like these guys. I love these people, and this guy is just making me angry. This Jeffrey Marsh character, and I can't believe he's getting away saying some of the stuff he is, and I'm thinking, are kids really following this guy? I hope not. So I'm getting all worked up saying this is wrong, and I'm going crazy. Well, I go Google it for Jake State Farm, and I Google it, and it comes up Jeffrey Earl Marsh. You hear me? You're kidding me, right? I got to go back 5 years now when I got the name for my Gabby little douche named Earl. And it's at Burger King, and I took it from two of the bosses there. One of them was named Gabby, and the other one had the last name Earl. So I called it my Gabby little douche named Earl. Wait till you hear the story of how I ended up getting that name. This guy's a bully. He freaking made me so mad. My boss, this Earl, I would say, grab a mic. This guy, he made this girl cry 3 days in a row. And every time he did this, he's trying to get rid of him. I worked there 2 years. I had to work a year or so with this guy. And I watched it over and over again. Whenever he wanted to get rid of somebody, he just rode him until they quit. And so I saw this a few times. And a couple of instances, things that I saw, he was a bully. He made everybody walk on eggshells. He always had to be first at the drive-thru. All the Burger Kings were hooked up with all the drive-thrus, and he always had to be first. And finally, when he made this girl cry 3 days in a row, she wanted to be a boss. And he put Gabby there. She was black. I got to say this, because this girl had been working there 2 years. And because she was black, she gets moved up, and she doesn't. And this girl's trying to get it, better her life. And this, it is what it is. I'm so sick and tired of this race stuff and how people choose and how people move people up. It's just, this thing, there's something wrong going on here. This other girl had been working there 2 years, was more qualified, understood everything, more than the person that just got there and been there a month. And then she's going to get moved up to a manager position. Well, I didn't know all of her background. Sure, I had, but these are my observations that I'm making. This girl cries 3 days in a row. I know if I confront this man that he's going to be on my ass. That's what I already know. So finally, I've had enough. And I asked him to take a walk and can I talk to you in the office? and I quote a few proverbs to him. And one of them was, look, there's this proverb that I read in the Bible that says, you correct a wise man and he will love you. You correct a foolish man and he will hate you. And I said, just based on what I've seen you and how you work around here, I'm going to tell you right now, this idea of being first has got to go. You got to get off this shit. You got everybody walking on eggshells. They're making mistakes. It's got to go. I know you're the big honcho here. I've seen it. And I'm going on and on and on and telling this guy. And the idea of this proverb, I know that correcting this guy, he's so doggone proud, he's gonna be on my ass. Because the girl that cried 3 days in a row was correcting his ass, saying, I've been here longer than she has. I know more than she does. Why aren't you moving me up? You get my drift? So I'm seeing all this stuff going, well, this girl ends up quitting, and I had it. So the next day that I come into work, sure enough, he puffs right up. I'm the boss here. We made eye contact as I walk into the door, and I can see him standing up by the French fries, and he's looking right at me. And when he puffed up, saw me walk in the door, that's the first, I'm the boss here. So it came, and I start shaking my head. I'm walking back to go punch in at my punch clock, and I said, here we go. This is probably my last day, because I'm not going to put up with this shit. I was done. And I said, Lord, help me. And I punch in. I get to my thing. I get going. And I get about an hour into work. I've got a sink running. And there's certain chemicals that are supposed to be in it. And there's certain things that if the big bosses come in, they've got checklists. And if there's certain things wrong, they check it off. And one of those things is, if you leave a dirty rag on a table, let's say I'm wiping off a table, because this is what's going on. The guy's walking by me. I go over and start my water, because while I'm cooking, I do dishes too. And I get all this stuff going. But certain things aren't complete yet. So I've got two criticals that are showing. As what's going on is, the burgers, my Whoppers, start running through the grill. I can hear it. Okay? I'm washing this table with a rag that I just pulled out of a sanitary bucket. And I'm washing this table with a rag. And I can hear it. All I got to do is turn around, get the next burgers up, set and ready to go. And that's what I do. I leave this rag for 15 seconds, 10 seconds maybe, as it takes me to turn around, push the next shit in. And he's walking by, he grabs that rag and he throws it in. He said, that's a critical. And I said, oh, no, you don't. I said, Mike, just go up there and leave. And he gets going, and he says, oh, we're going to talk. And he points to my sink, and he says, that's another critical right there. And I said, oh, boy, here we go. I said, you know what, Mike? Fuck you. I said, get it. I said, go up there. He said, oh, that's it. And he starts walking back, and he's going to write me up. I don't usually use language like that, but I had enough. And I said, you know what? I'm done. I told you I didn't need this job. I told you I'm a writer. I told you I got a YouTube channel and everything that I'm trying to do. And I got all these characters trying to figure out names for them. Blah, 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 blah. I told you what I'm doing. And et cetera, et cetera. So I don't really care, because one of these days, this is going to work for me. And that's what I'm telling them. And I leave. And I quit. I get all the way home. Watch this. I pull in my driveway. And I'm madder. I'm madder than hell. And I'm saying, Lord, I'm telling you, I knew that was going to happen. I can't take that anymore. That guy was a bully, and you know it. And I'm sitting in the driveway. I haven't even got inside yet. And all of a sudden, it hits me. Hey, I said, Lord, I don't have a name for my douche yet. What's his last name? And my car's still running. I go in reverse. I drive all the way back to Burger King. Now it's lunchtime. Okay? Lunch rush is happening. I got 15 people behind me by the time I get up to the front to order my stuff. And Mike hasn't seen me yet. All the kids are looking at me. They're like, oh, Ralph's out there, Mike's right there. Nobody's saying anything. All these people I work with are looking at me. What's he going to do? I've got my food. My food's coming to me. As soon as I get my food in my hand, I'm standing there, and he's shuffling around, getting some fries in. He's got his back to me. And I say, "Hey, Mike, by the way, what's your last name?" He turns around, he says, "Oh, Ralph, you can go call anybody you want." I said, "Call anybody I want? I ain't gonna call nobody. I told you I was a writer. I came in here to find a name for my douche." He grabs my food. He grabs my receipt. He gets the money out of the drawer. He takes my food. "We're not serving you today." And he looks at me, and all these kids are laughing. He looks back out to that crowd. There's people just rolling. And this guy looks at me straight in the face as he hands me my money, and he says, "Thanks for ruining my store, Ralph." A week later, he was moved somewhere else, and I get it now. But I probably should repent for something like that. But let's just say it like this. I don't like bullies. I can't stand them. And that Jeffrey Marsh is exactly what that son of a bitch is doing to everybody that doesn't see things the way that he sees them. It's bullshit. That is a cesspool of pig shit going straight to hell when he dies, and he doesn't even know it. Somebody needs to tell him, and it's gonna be me. My Gabby little douche named Earl. I introduced him there with one of those videos. Don't exactly know how I'm going to have him talk yet. Probably going to try to pick up something from that squirrel. But what I'm saying is, my Gabby little douche named Earl, he's a guy who dresses up like a girl. He's the biggest douche in the world. Can you hear me now? You think I'm joking? What are you smoking?